Hello, welcome to Skill Set Engage. Purpose of this video is to kind of go in line with self-sufficiency. The idea is to do raised garden beds. Raised garden beds will give us an advantage over some of the pests such as slugs, and if we fence in the outside edge, it gives us a nice platform to kind of build that fencing off of. It'll help protect against the deer, which are a common issue in this area here. I'm against using pesticides where at all possible, so I'm going to be using copper wire to impede slug progress and things like that. And I use an eco wood treatment, which is supposed to be a mineral-based wood treatment to go into the wood here. Now it used to be a bright kind of yellowish hue, and that stained it to the color it is right now. And so we'll do a follow-up video probably a year out from now, and we'll actually cover whether or not it was successful. We'll dig up one of these beds completely and see how rotted, how decayed. We'll also see from the outside to see how much damage it sustained over time too. So this will be an interesting learning experience in that regards. Other than that, let's dive right into it. The nitty gritty of the design. What we have here is we have 6 2x4s, each with a 45-degree cut into the side. Now, every single box that I build for this setup is going to be the exact same width apart for every single one. That way, as I build them, they'll stack and click into each other, and if I do any adjustments later on, such as we're going to do some gates at the front, those will be able to push out with each addition. Now, I get these boards from a type of pallet that I commonly get, and it's not so common that I get it all the time, so I want the ability to extend as I get these boards in. Now, you're going to see how we have the 45 for the center post here that's also cut in to dig into the ground, but then we also have this cross beam that's right here. That'll allow so we get a little bit less bowing, because dirt naturally kind of wants to flood or ooze outwards, so the base is going to get hit hardest. So one of the things we also did to combat that is we added a buttload of sticks, and this is a lot of bark from a lot of the log splitting that we do here, and that's going to kind of give you a little bit more structure so that there's a little bit less desire at the lower levels for the dirt to push out. And we'll add dirt to the top levels, which you'll see in a moment, and that will enable us to do the top area there. What this also provides is breakdown. This is going to break down, and we're going to get drainage, and we're also going to get water hold from this wood. As it starts to kind of biodegrade, it's going to turn into kind of a sponge, and it's going to help with a lot of that process. Now, after that, what we're going to do is I'm going to attach a copper wire along the base. I'm going to floss it down in between here and along the base, and I'm going to do another one along the top. And so what that copper is as far as I'm aware, is slugs don't like crossing that copper. It's a pH change that doesn't really bode well for them, so they avoid it at all costs. So if my raised beds have 2 layers of copper for each of these beds, then the hope is that we don't get that slug crotches because we actually get annihilated by slugs out here. So this is one of the beds that hasn't been filled in yet. We're going to go to one of the other beds, and I'll go through and explain that process there. Okay, as we start filling this is one of the least filled ones here, aside from the one that has no dirt in it. You're going to notice all the dirt going into the cracks. It's going to be normal. It's going to be porous that way. It's going to build up. You're probably going to get some saggage over time. That's not the end concern for me. In fact, as things break down and stuff drops down lower, I'm going to add more material to the top. So maybe next season, add a little bit more fertilized soil and stuff like that. And then you'll notice one other key feature is I've left enough space here for another set of boards. So what's going to happen is that fence board is a 2x4 that's going to strap to the outside and be so tall to allow the fencing to be mounted around the whole entire outer perimeter. But we'll be able to slide more boards in between those boards there and allow us to raise this another level so that we can, as we need to add more material, the raised bed gets deeper, and also we'll end up with another layer to go as things start to compact and break down. All of this has been filled in with sifted dirt. The sifted dirt gives a nice aeration to the soil. It's not all clumped together. It's not all hard. But this isn't the fertilized point. I've got a neighbor who has horses who's going to be giving me a big load of horse manure, and I'm going to mix that 50-50 with the next batch, and I'm going to bring it all the way up to the lip here, just shy of it, for this setup here. So that's going to be the goal as far as this goes, is horse manure 50-50 for that top layer where all the plants are going to get their start, and a lot of that will leach down into the soil as time progresses. And then later when we raise this, add more manured fertilized soil up to the top, we'll be able to continue from there. One last feature of this raised garden bed area. We used to have a pipe with the faucet coming through. This pipe was notoriously easy to kick through because it came in at a weird lateral angle, did not have a supporting structure such as a 4x4 to keep it up. So what I'm going to do is this new pipe here, I've capped it off with the ball valve. We're going to end up giving a 90-degree up, and we're going to attach a pretty deep-seated, so there's the pipes where the handle operates the mechanism deep within it, and it helps with the freezing process for a lot of these types of situations. You don't want exposed pipe out into the elements kind of thing without the portion that actually cuts the water off being lower into insulated material. Alrighty, that's about to wrap up this first video for the raised garden beds. The modular design will allow us to build linearly outwards and eventually add sections in the center here to go outwards too. And we're going to do the gate so that we can access it and detach it and move it down the line as we expand. The pallets that we get, they come in every so often, so it's a matter of when do we get enough to complete at least 2 sections to go forward, and later on 1 section in the middle, and along with the eco treatment and everything like that. Now, the goal is obviously self-sufficiency with as little effort as possible. So eventually we'll do an automated water system. Usually we get pretty good rain here in Washington State, but there are a couple months during the summer where things can kind of get a little dry, and then you got to kind of be on Johnny on the spot. So it'd be nice not to think about it during at least those 2 months. Alrighty, thank you kindly. If you liked the video, you know what to do.